The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Sunday warned operators in the downstream petroleum sector against exploiting consumers following refusal to reflect the sharp decline in global crude oil prices at retail pump stations. Hi. Welcome to What's Happening. These are our top 10 stories countdown today. At number 10, British American Tobacco announced Monday sweeping job cut as the cigarette maker accesses 5,500 roles globally and outsources another 3,500 to help slash costs. The maker of Lucky Strike and Dunhill cigarettes aims to save £600 million a year by 2028 in a restructuring that will affect around 20% of BAT's 47,000 member workforce, it said in a statement. BAT, along with other tobacco majors, faces decline in demand for traditional cigarettes and is turning its focus instead to newer categories, including vapes and oral nicotine products. At number 9, Stephen Ustakil, stoppage time winner, fired Canada to a 2-1-0 win over South Africa on Sunday in the first match of the World Cup knockout round, as the co-hosts advanced to the last 16 for the first time in their history, with both sides making their first ever appearance in the knockout phase. The game appeared to be heading for extra time before Estorquils broke South African hearts with a clinical hit from just outside the area. Canada, playing in Los Angeles, despite being co-hosts after failing to win their group, will now face the Netherlands or Morocco in Houston in the last 16 on July 4th, as South Africa's World Cup adventure comes to an end. At number 8, Kaduna State Governor Senator Uba Sani has assured the family of the late Usman Aliyu that all those responsible for her death will be brought to justice, while pledging that the state government will assume responsibility for the education and welfare of the children she left behind. The governor gave the assurance during a condolence visit to the bereaved family in Maraban, Jos, Kaduna, where he met with the deceased husband, Aliyu Muhammad, and other family members to sympathize with them over their loss. At number 7, the Borno State Police Command has deployed security operatives to Lassa community in Asikira, Uba local government area following the abduction of an unspecified number of students writing the National Examinations Council examinations by suspected terrorists. Punch Online had earlier reported that the attackers stormed the school at about 9 a.m. on Monday, shooting sporadically before abducting students and women selling food items within the school premises. Confirming the deployment to Punch Online, the spokesperson for the Borno State Police Command, Nahum Dassel, said security operatives confronted the attackers, preventing a larger-scale abduction. At number 6, the Minister of Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande, has congratulated Osasere Okundaye on emerging as Nigeria's youngest chartered accountant at the age of 16. In a statement on Monday, Olawande described the feat as a remarkable demonstration of hard work, discipline, resilience, and commitment to excellence. He noted that Okundaye had become a shining example of the limitless potential of Nigerian youth, saying her achievement should inspire others to pursue excellence. At number 5, in a renewed effort to deepen grassroots engagement and promote inclusive development across the South-South region, the South-South Development Commission has continued its consultation with communities, this time visiting stakeholders in the Yala local government area of Cross River State. The engagement formed part of the Commission's broader mandate to ensure that development is driven by the real needs of the people. The SSDC emphasized that it is moving away from a top-down approach to one that listens directly to communities and designs interventions that reflect their daily realities and long-term aspirations. At number 4, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps Akwa Ibom State Command has arrested 3 suspects and impounded a tanker loaded with 45,000 liters of ethanol, suspected to have been illegally acquired. The state commandant, Mrs. Geraldine Abetiambe, disclosed this while briefing journalists in Uyo. She said the arrest and seizure were carried out on Tuesday at about 1 p.m. by operatives of the command acting on credible intelligence at Ikot Umo Essen along Aba Road in Essen Udim local government area. At number 3, more than 76 ISWAP terrorists have abandoned their enclaves and surrendered to troops within the Northeast Theater of Operations as part of the Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai and continued operational successes. The Northeast geopolitical zone comprises 6 states: Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Taraba, and Yobe. In a statement by the acting military information officer, Headquarters Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai, Captain Mohammed Ghani, revealed that among those who surrendered were key members of the terrorist network due to relentless US military pressure. At number 2, the Nigerian Education Loan Fund has expressed concern over reports that some tertiary institutions are delaying or refusing to refund tuition fees to students who had already paid before the disbursement of their NEL fund loans. In a statement signed by the fund's Director of Strategic Communications, Oshayemi Oluwatuyi, NEL Fund said the student loan scheme, introduced by the administration of President Bola Tinubu, was established to remove financial barriers to higher education, not to place additional burdens on students. At number 1, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission Sunday warned operators in the downstream petroleum sector against exploiting consumers following refusal to reflect the sharp decline in global crude oil prices at retail pump stations. In a 10th statement, Executive Vice Chairman, Chief Executive of the Commission, Tunji Bello, noted that ongoing surveillance of the downstream petroleum market by the Commission had revealed that reductions in gantry prices by local refiners, marketers, depot operators, and retail outlets operators had been marginal and far below current global crude oil prices. That's all for today. See you next time on What's Happening.